So, welcome, guys. Great to have you, Coach Nate. You want to start these guys out with anything?
Sure. Is there anything that you guys want to talk about team wise, or anything for preparation for the summer? Or just anything they need to know?
Yeah, everybody should be good to go. I think biggest thing is just staying on the team snap. That's where we'll communicate everything in regards to tournaments, games, arrival times, what uniforms to wear, all that type of thing. So make sure you have access to that. Again, I think it's available on the App Store through Apple and also through Android. If not, they have a website as well. But I would say to download that app, and you should have an invitation from us through the registration emails you used.
Super. On the Team Snap thing, real quick, if you have not watched the Team Snap video, please do so as soon as possible. If you did not thoroughly watch the video, please do so as soon as possible. Very important. We get everybody on board with the Team Snap, and so yeah, if you have not watched that, we got to jump on that ASAP. Thank you. So, Nate, all you.
Super. So we have guys, Abe. We have guys from all over the country right now. From
yeah, I would say from Florida to Hawaii, California, Arizona, Texas, the Northwest, a couple Midwest guys, Minnesota. Kind of all over.
Super.
Michigan.
I saw old Campbell playing on the 14U team. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I did a camp out there when he was about 11, so he looks like he's getting big and strong. Saborn's little brother.
Yeah, definitely.
It's great to see him still. The younger brothers mixing in. It's awesome. What are the age groups we have right now?
High school.
So we're 9 through 12?
For the most part, yeah.
Seniors as well. We have parents on as well, coaches too, or just, okay, super. What kind of numbers are we looking at right now?
We're at 95.
Nice.
Hold on.
First, I'd like to welcome you guys. To the Zoom. Can you guys hear me okay? Does it sound fine? Awesome. So the first thing I'm going to encourage you guys to do is be great learners. And I've been scouting for 20 years and continually learning every single week, every day. And it's a part of my journey. It's a part of anybody's journey who's going to be an influencer as a player or as a coach or any area of your life. And I first want to encourage you guys to be great learners. And great learners are great note takers. So like even just from the first minute when I just spoke, I would suggest that you wrote down what I just said. Great learners, be a great learner. 20/80 scale is the scale we're going off of, and your job is to know that scale like you know your name, because that's the scale you're graded on. But anytime you put a number on something where you can grade something, what happens is it holds you accountable to a standard. And the big problem for human beings, just being human, it doesn't matter your age, is we get comfortable. It's a part of being human. So you as a human, if you can't measure something, what happens is you say, oh, I'm pretty good, or I had a pretty good year, or, well, what does that mean? My arm's pretty good. I'm a pretty good runner. What does that mean? According to what? And if you can't measure it, one, you can't hold yourself accountable to a standard, and also you can't improve it. So motivation comes from having numbers, and we're going to talk about motivation tonight. We're going to talk about numbers. We're going to talk about a lot of different things, and I'm going to go in many different areas. So we begin with being great learners, and great learners, when we're done, let's say we go for 25 minutes, your sheet of paper should be covered. And great learning begins with being a great listener. First and foremost, great listener. Then from a great listener, you're a great note taker. And I suggest you write this down, because this should be your signature. When a scout asks Abe or Adam or myself, they say, hey, what do you got on this guy? We say he's a high IQ guy. He's a great learner. He's a tremendous learner. The guy he was last year, he is a totally different player. How do you become a different player year to year? Very few players continue to advance. You'll see an area code kid or an all league guy as a sophomore or junior. oftentimes they stay the same. They just get bigger. They just get older. They get more hair on their face. The question is are you really getting better? And that's what you want next to your name and your signature is, you know, he's a great learner. Every year, Abe, you know, Abe and Adam, they see these guys for years. I get a chance to see some of you guys too, but we see you, and so many players don't get better. So take pride on being a great learner. And who you are today does not determine who you are tomorrow. So some of you guys might say, hey, right now I'm not a draft guy, or, you know, I'm a good player, but I'm not an elite player. My tools are average. I have one above average tool. It means nothing. It's where are you going? So begin with being a great listener. Second, be a great note taker. And third, once you write down your notes tonight, tomorrow, and throughout the week, your job is to read your notes and also to articulate them to somebody. Read them out loud to your mom, your sister, your dog, your cat, your brother. Doesn't matter who it is. You need to say them out loud, because if you don't say it out loud, all the information we're talking about will go just right out the other ear, one in one, one out the other, because you cannot learn unless you articulate in your brain over and over. So we're talking about being great learners. So being a great learner. Number two is the motivation. Motivation for you guys is everything. It's not about, hey, I got committed, or I'm going to get committed. It's about motivation. What motivates you? And we're gonna go to the scale of the CPD BTM. CPD is complete player development. Write down CPD BTM RYC. CPD should be your motto for your development. It's complete player development. Tonight, we're not going to get into everything by any means, but we're just touching up on areas. Complete player development covers the 5 physical tools, covers the 6th tool, your mental makeup, and it covers the 7th tool, the day of rest, the day of reflection, the day of planning, the day of assessing, the day of being with family, the day of prayer, the day of maybe your spirituality. It's the 7th day, a day of faith. So it's the day of planning, recovering, recouping, looking back at your week and assessing. That's the 7th tool. The 6th tool is your mental makeup, your focus, your energy, your confidence, your bounce back, your preparation. That's your mental makeup. And then we have our 5 physical tools. If you are not reflecting after your games, and we give you a very simple checklist, it's GDB RR, it's grinder, dirtbag, bulldog, rock, and rat. Grinder's focus, dirtbag is energy, bulldog is confidence, the rock is your response, and the rat is your preparation. Those are your 5 checkpoints after every game. And at some point over time, we'll give you actually a checklist to go off of, but you can just create your own off of what we just gave you, because we actually have a sheet and you go through and you just go through, hey, how was my focus today? How was my energy today? How was my confidence today? We faced one of the best pitchers in the conference. And last time I was 1 for 3 against him. And actually I had a little bit of self-doubt today. Well, no wonder you went 0 for 4 or 1 for 4 again, because the confidence wasn't there. So it's your job to hold yourself accountable to our mental makeup. Then we have our 5 physical tools. Now, obviously you're in the heart of your season. Most of you guys, some of you guys are maybe done. Maybe some of you guys aren't having a season, but there's only so much time in the day. But when we talk in the beginning about motivation, motivation is the driving force for any athlete who's going to get better every day. So how do you get motivated? This is how you get motivated. Very simple. TDD is train the date. What are you training for? When you have something already, that does not motivate. So if I'm already a starting shortstop on my high school team, I'm already batting 5th, 3rd, whatever, and I'm like, yeah, that's where I want to be. That doesn't motivate me anymore because I already achieved it. So the question is what date is in front of you that's motivating you? Because if you don't have a date in front of you, your motivation will be on a 20/80, maybe a 50. It'll be average. But if you want to be on fire, the dirtbag, with energy each day, the rat, with this preparation of I'm training my 5 tools. How am I going to find time to train my 5 tools during the high school season when I'm getting ready for the summer? Well, let me tell you something. If you have a specific date in front of you, you know what you'll do? You'll train like your hair's on fire. But if you're just saying, hey, I'm excited about the summer, we got some good events coming up, you know what you do after practice? You go home like everybody else. There's one player in particular. He's a Division I player. I've been talking to him all week long, and last week he said, Nate, after practice, everybody goes home. Everybody. He goes, except me. And I said, yeah, it's about building your process. And we've been talking about it for a long time. We're going to talk about building your process. But don't think wherever you go, just because guys are good players, is that they're all working hard. They're not. A lot of guys are very talented. And over time, that talent's going to wear out, because the work ethic is what keeps you in the game. So the motivation to put this extra time. So I'm going to give you a simple example. The PDP events are coming up. There's one in Florida right now. They have them regionally now. Basically, they're pre-draft workouts. And they're ran by Team USA and Major League Baseball. That's an event. So I'm just giving you an example of how this works. They have one in the Great Northwest this weekend, and they have one in Southern California in about 2 weeks. On that agenda, they list what they're testing: the 30, the grip, the broad jump, BP, defense, exit speed, Rapsodo numbers, and you're going to play in a game against the top 40 players in the region. So top 40 players in Southern California, that's a pretty steep group of players. One of the players I work with is going up there this weekend to the Great Northwest, and he's also going to the Southern California one. What do you think he does after practice? We train broad jump, grip, 30s, exit speed. When practice is over, how many guys do that in the country? Not 1%. Why would he do it? The purpose is because there's a date he's training for, and he's training for specific tests. So when you go, if I want to be an elite player when I show up to college my freshman year, or I want to get drafted, I want to go to a draft workout, or I want to get to the area codes. The area code is very important, or an NTIS event, or one of these top perfect game events, or a big tournament. Guys are evaluating my tools. Interesting, 5 tools. We say complete player development, body tools, makeup. Guys, this is the point. When practice is over, practice is not over if you want to be an elite player. And I said in the beginning, it's not who you are today, it's where you're going. So if you're a 7-1 runner, it doesn't make any difference. The question is what are you going to be in 6 months from now? What are you going to be in 12 months from now? What are you going to be in 18 months from now? It's better every day. It's motivation to the 5 tools, the 6 tool, and the 7 tool. So training the date. So I'm going to ask you right now, what dates do you have in front of you? You should have the date in front of you that's stimulating you to work extra hard every single day. Not just I took extra swings today. It's 5 tools. So you might say, hey, we play catch 10 minutes a day of practice. Okay, 2 days a week, you need to find time to stay after and play your long toss. As long as your arm's in that type of shape where you can throw. Maybe your arm hurts, well, then you need to probably just shut it down and hope your arm survives the season. But if your arm's in a place where you can get your long toss, you have to find time to build each tool. Oh, practice is over on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We usually get over, and those are hitting days. Yeah, stick around after for an hour and play your long toss and do all your band work. Then you say, what days am I going to do my run tool? Well, after my game days, Monday, Wednesdays, there's a little hill behind in the back of our parking lot at our school. I'm going to go run 1040s on the hill, forward and backwards. Now you're working your run tool because you're getting ready for the first week in the summer. What do you have? Week number 3. It's June. I'm just making this date up. June 23rd, we're going to be at so-and-so. The area code tryout is, the area code Southern California trial is June 8th and 9th. You can't just roll out of bed and think your tools are going to show up and be at their best. You guys have to prepare. So in closing with the motivation concept, train the date, TDD. Have a date in front of you that is stimulating you. So when practice is over, practice is not over. Then know what you want from that day. So for example, if you're going to the Southern California area code trial, the Hawaii guys are the Southern California guys. We know there's trials all over the country, and a lot of you guys are invited. I'm just giving you one example. If you're going to that event, every event measures your run tool, your throw tool, your hit tool, your field tool, every single one. And they do it different ways. Some will do 30s, some will do 10s, some will do 60s, some will do all 3. It doesn't matter. Prepare your run tool. Everybody's going to measure your arm strength. So make sure you're building your arm, or make sure you're caring for your arm so that it's strong, so you can start building it maybe in the beginning of the summer, because maybe you need to take a little time off. I don't know where everybody's at. Everybody's in a different place, but you have to be 5 tool conscious every single day on your weekly calendar. And you will never do training after practice to an extent if you do not have a date in front of you with the goals that you want to accomplish that day. So right now I'm a 6'9" runner. Abe, I want to be a 6'8" runner on the area code tryout in 3 weeks. Dude, that's going to motivate me to get my jumping rope in. That's going to get me to get my sprint work and work on my starts, get to the, working my leg work in the gym, whatever it might be. Throw tool. I'm going to get 4 plays across the diamond catchers. You're going to get 4 plays, throws from the home plate, right fielders. Everybody's going to right field, throwing from the outfield, right? It's like, dude, those 5 tools need to get better every day, and you need to have a plan. So have your date in front of you. Train the date, be motivated, and understand it's complete player development, body tools, makeup. Let me ask you, what are you doing for your bodies, guys? What are you doing daily? How is your body right now? Where do you want it to be in your first major event this summer? So you might say, I'm going to maintain right now. It's hard for me to maintain in season. So you might say maintaining is my goal right now. If you don't have any goals, body goals, you know what happens? You have no idea what you're going to show up like. Man, I lost 5 pounds, Abe. Abe looks at you and he's like, dude, what happened? Yeah, I got busy at the end of the year. We had prom, and like, dude, you look skinny, you look weak. Your run tool is weaker, your bat speed's less. It's like, no, have a plan. Are you going to maintain? Are you going to gain weight? Are you going to lose weight? Body, tools, makeup. I did the Erico Fall Classic for 15 years. Most guys would show up there, Adam, you're in the dugout every time. Most guys would show up there not at their best. Every pitcher said they threw 90 through 84. Or if they threw 95, they threw 89 to 91. Everybody was down. Everybody. It's because they start getting comfortable, right? They get committed, they get comfortable, or they get comfortable for whatever reason. You guys can never get comfortable. Enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey. So I'm not telling you to be uptight, enjoy it. Have the best time, but have the best time working hard with a plan. And if you have a process, you know what happens? You're going to just pass guys up, and who you were today and 6 months from now, we're going to continue to say, who is that guy? Wow, that guy is changing himself. He's changing his game. Talking to, we're going to go back to the Division I guy I was talking to this week. Talked to him 2 different times. And I told him a story about Walker Buehler. Now Walker Buehler last year, it was the NLCS championship game, and it was a 3-2 game, and it was bases loaded. And he struck out 2, and he got the 3rd guy to ground out. And after the game, Oral Hershiser, Pedro Martinez, they were talking to him. He said, Walker, come on, man. You pitch like a veteran. Now, if you're a hitter, understand these principles apply to everything. Hitting, defense, pitching, it doesn't make any difference. Catching, it doesn't make any difference. It's all mental game. It's all process. It's all mental game focus. So they're like, Walker, what's up, man? He says, you know what happened last year? He goes, I lost. I didn't do very good. And this is one of the most dominant guys in the game, right? His first time in the playoffs, he struggled last year. Well, 2 years ago. Last year, they're like, what was the change, Walker? He said, first of all, I've already failed and realized that it doesn't matter anymore because I don't fear failure. And he said, I stopped trying to be perfect. I'm just attacking the hitters. I'm competing with confidence. I'm not micromanaging. So just think of that process. How many hitters micromanage the strike zone? How many hitters are in there to compete and they're aggressive? How many hitters are afraid to fail? They have some type of uncertainty. And we have this word, shaizen doro. Shaizen doro is to be bound by nothing. It's a Japanese word, bound by nothing. You have no concerns. You're not concerned about the coach. You're not concerned about striking out. You're not concerned about your average. You're concerned about competing with confidence. And when he was all done without outing, he says, I've never really pitched like that. That was the best I've ever pitched. But I realized I just need to really attack, man. And I'm not afraid to fail anymore. Well, I want you to think about, because the pitcher I was talking about this story, I told him, I said, Walker is building his process. You have to build your mental game process and your physical game process. And it comes every single game that you play. You go home and you reflect. It's called self-awareness. And the greater you know yourself, strengths and weaknesses, and the more time you spend in solitude, meaning silence, thinking, reflecting, journaling, and it doesn't have to be an hour. It could be literally 10 minutes after your game. You sit down in your room and you go through each at bat and you think about it and you go, man, I was good today. Walker Buehler was building his process. And I was telling this pitcher, this Division I pitcher, I told him, I said, hey, you have to build your process. Walker Buehler is building his process. You have to know your process and you have to build it. And it's like the blueprints when you build a house. They build this blueprint and then they go back to it. Well, if you have a blueprint to go back to, what happens? You can repeat consistency. But what happens, the younger you are, the harder it is to know how to repeat because you don't even know why you were good. Typically, you're just good because you were good. You're like, man, I was pretty good today. Well, can you repeat that? You talk about a college season, 56 in 90 days. The minor leagues is 142 and 155. And you think about there's guys on the bench as good as you waiting in line. Your job is to repeat. Repeat. How can you repeat if you don't have a great process? So this is my challenge for you guys. In your notes, write down my mental process / my physical process. And you have to have all your, if you're a pitcher, what is your physical process to be prepared physically so that you can repeat? And then mentally, what do you have to repeat? What was Walker Buehler's? Walker Buehler says, I stopped trying to have perfect pitches versus I'm making pitches versus trying to be perfect on my pitches. And then I'm attacking on every pitch and I don't fear failure anymore because I've already failed. It's no big deal. That was his recipe for pitching on the biggest stage in the world, dominating the best hitters in the world. Now, if Walker Buehler does not take inventory, because I took inventory of what Walker Buehler said, there's a fair chance, because most players don't do this. There's a fair chance if you ask Walker Buehler, what's your process? He might have even forgot that outing because he's probably had 10 cents. So it's very easy to forget your past. You cannot forget the past. When airplanes crash, they call it locating the black box. When an airplane crashes, they go to the black box and it tells them what happened. It backtracks. So basically it backtracks and it tells them every game, every outing, man, today I struggled with the slider. Okay, why? Go back and locate the black box every single game. And you go back to the black box. You say, what did I struggle with today? Then you say, what did I do well today? Hank Aaron, the greatest hitter of all time, he would replay every game. So he'd go back to his room, typically on the road, 50-50, he's at home and he's on the road, but he goes back home and he is replaying every pitch to every at bat. So what was he creating? He was creating his process for what worked for him and what didn't work for him. And he learned because he'd go, every time I struggle off this pitcher, I'm thinking this and that didn't work. I'm trying too hard off this guy. Oh, I'm swinging too hard on this guy. I'm trying to pull this guy, right? I'm swinging too early in the count on this guy. This guy, I don't get a good pitch to hit on. So you go through it and you locate and you learn yourself. That's the sixth component of self-mastery, which is self-awareness. It's learning yourself. So begin building your process. So I tell the pitcher, I said, hey, grandma has the best brownies. It's a very simple analogy, but it's real. And you're going to really catch this because it's very simple. If you go over to grandma's house and she makes brownies for 10 years straight, since you've been 3 years old, you're 13 now, the brownies taste the same every time. How is it possible that she is that consistent and she repeats? There's only one way. She has a recipe. Her recipe is her process. So she produces every day her best. For you to be the best hitter, the best version of you every game, because you don't see it. You're like, man, that guy raked today. Good pitch discipline, hitting balls hard, hitting all fields. Then you see the next two games, he's like 1 for 8. And the next game he goes 6 for 12 and he's like good, then bad, then good, then bad. It's because you don't have a process. You don't know how to repeat. Imagine going over to grandma's and every other time the brownies taste terrible, then they taste good, then they're good for 2 weeks, then they're bad for 1, then they're bad for 4. That's the pitchers. Watch guys in the big leagues. They'll go like 3-0, then they'll lose 10 straight, then they'll win like 7. You'll see with hitters too. They're all human beings. Your process, there's no like age discrimination. You build your process on what makes you your best. And when you struggle, then you start to work against the negative pieces of your process. You say, dude, I'm not going to repeat that. And I'm going to add these pieces. And you see it all the time when you see a guy like David Price, you see a guy like Clayton Kershaw, you see a guy like Jake Peavy, you see a guy like Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine. These guys are the worst pitchers in the history of Major League Baseball in the playoffs, the worst. And they're Hall of Famers. How is it possible? How could a guy be the best of the best of the best? Then he gets to the playoffs or the World Series and he's not good anymore. It's because he tries to do something new. Grandma doesn't go home and say, hey, I'm going to try something new this time. She goes back to her process and she repeats. And that's why every single time she has repeatability. But if you don't have a recipe, going back to it, you'll have 1 good outing or you'll have 2 good days at the plate. Then you'll come back and you'll have 3 bad games and you're all over the place. There's no consistency. You know what happens with a player like that? You don't keep playing because there's a guy on the bench waiting his turn. There's a guy in the bullpen waiting his turn. This game is about getting in the lineup and not ever leaving the lineup. And how do you do that? You do that with consistency. And the younger you are, it doesn't make any difference. There's no age limit. So understand that your process, but you can't just have a hitting process. You need to have a process on my throw tool. How do I get my arm ready? What is my process in catch play? I love these 5 drills and I do them every single day and I pay attention to detail. The guy in the bullpen, he's down there, he's locked in. He knows exactly how many pitches he's going to throw before each outing. He knows exactly how much time he needs. He knows how much time he is on the bench waiting for the first pitch, for the first pitch of the other team to throw. So he knows when to do what he does so he can get ready because he's the home team. Whatever it is, you need to build your process. What is your process between innings pitchers. What do? You just sit on the bench, one inning, you laugh and have fun. The next inning, you're pissed. The next inning, you're over there like talking to the coach. It's like, have a process. I sit in that corner. I talk to my catcher for the first batter. Then I lock in and I breathe. And I pay attention to the next batters that are coming up the next inning. I plan my attack, and then boom. If that's your process, beautiful. But can you repeat that every single inning for every single outing? Build your process. Build your process, mental process, physical process. We're going to jump to, let's see here. We got a couple more. Okay, I was talking to a big league guy this week. He's a big league scout, and he also played in the big leagues. And I love to learn from the guys that have done it and the guys that are in it right now. I mean, you can learn from the older guys, no doubt. But I love current guys because they're in it at the moment. And so I try to surround myself with the old guys, young guys, current guys, all the guys. And this current scout, he's been scouting for 7 years, and he played in the major leagues. And we were talking, I said, if you'd go back and do it again, he was on our XM radio show this weekend. I said, if you'd go back and do it again, what would you do different? Guys understand there's no second chances. Let me tell you something. He played like 3 games in the big leagues. And he was like, dude, I could have played 10. John Bowker was a four-year big leaguer for the Giants. He played in Japan. He's our high school assistant coach right now. And I asked him the other day. He said, Nate, if I'd go back, I guarantee you I can bat 300 every season and hit 30 jacks. Well, the problem is you don't get to go back. Guys, there's no do-overs. There's no second chances. You don't get that luxury. And every guy has advice. So let's learn from their advice. Let's learn from what they're giving. So the one guy I'm talking about, I'm just going to call him the scout because I prefer not giving names. So the scout said, if I go back and do it again, my body will be number one. Number one. Write it down. My body. He didn't say my throat tool. Yeah, that's a part of your body, but he said my body. Now, by the way, I've heard that for the last 10 years from the majority of major league players that I've asked that question. They all say the same thing. They say my body would be number one, and my mental game would be number two. It's mental game and body. Because at some point, everybody can hit a ball off a tee, and everybody can hit BP. So the question is, really, is what's your mental game? Because that's going to determine the type of hitter or pitcher you'll be. Why did Walker Buehler dominate this last playoffs and World Series? It's simple. Because he got his mind right. That's it. He's not a new pitcher. He didn't get a new pitch. He doesn't throw harder. He didn't gain weight. He got his mind right. So making it a priority, getting your mind right. So a question is what does that mean, get your mind right? So the term Shaizen Doro, we said at the beginning, is to be bound by nothing. And I want you to write down 3 things that you're bound by. Could be 2, could be 5. Something that bounds you. For example, Shaizen Doro is to dance with freedom, bound by nothing. So I'll give you an example. Last night, Carmel High had their senior prom. How many guys are actually out on the dance floor dancing and like having fun versus going, dude, I don't want to dance. I don't want to look like a clown. Look at all my friends. They're all watching, right? Most people have to get hammered, okay? They actually get intoxicated to dance because of the fear they have. And you'll see it at high school dances. You'll see guys hammered all the time. I'm not encouraging being hammered. The point is that guys do that and adults do it at weddings. Why? Because they have fear. They're worried about what people think. That means you're bound by something. And when you're bound by something, the Japanese call it being unsettled. The key is to be settled and centered. And that means you're confident and relaxed. But if I'm thinking about what other people think, or thinking about not looking like an idiot, or thinking about something, that means I'm bound by something. Shaizen Doro is to be bound by nothing, to dance with freedom. So the goal is when you're on the mound, can you pitch with freedom? Can you pitch with no fear? See, Walker Buehler did not pitch with freedom his first year. He was unsure of himself. He was afraid to fail. It's my first playoffs. I hope I don't mess up. Am I good enough? All those questions, he was bound. He did not dance with freedom. Well, you know what happened when he released and he got settled and he released all of his concerns? You know what happens? He absolutely dominated. He's the same human being as all he did was release his concerns. Are you concerned about your teammates, what they think? Are you concerned about being a sophomore on the varsity? Are you concerned about what your coach thinks? Are you concerned about messing up? You need to identify what concerns you, because that is the limiting factor to you reaching your ceiling. And you know what happens when you play with freedom, without fear? It's the same thing what Walker Buehler said. He said, when I lost my fear of failure, he goes, I dominated. And this is the quote: when a warrior loses their fear of death, they become dominant. The warrior becomes dominant when they lose their fear of death. Well, a baseball player, their fear is failure. It's a game of failure. It's very difficult to not focus on, man, hope I don't go 1 for 3 today. I was 0 for 3 last game. Failure is a part of the game, right? When the baseball player loses his fear of failure, he becomes dominant. So my question is what do you fear? Every single human fears something. Walker Buehler feared failure. What did that mean? I want you to be specific though, because Walker Buehler, I didn't get into his mind and say, okay, well, what does that mean, Walker? Were you worried about the veterans on your team? Were you worried about the contract you're going to sign in 1 year because you're going to get arbitration? I mean, what are you afraid of? Because once you release that, you know what happens? Everybody in the stands, every scout, every college coach, every teammate, and your coaches can see it because they can feel you playing with freedom without any fear, without any hesitation. You're competing with confidence. So the 3 is what concerns do you have? Is it, I hope I can get to college, will I get a scholarship? I don't know what your concerns are. Then we're going to talk just briefly about how we're going to combat them. So you don't need to write down your concerns right now. That's your job tonight. I want you to think deeply about when you get to the field. And I'll give you an example. The Division I pitcher I was talking to, he told me, he goes, I'm concerned about what the seniors think. He goes, when I'm playing catch, this guy's a full ride guy, Division I guy, okay, pitcher, full ride. He's not a scrub. So the point is he's dealing with self-doubt. That tells you everybody does. He goes, I'm concerned. The coach stands behind me, and I want him to like my motion, man. I go, dude, you got to get that guy out of your head, dude. Just play catch and be an athlete. Be relaxed. Stop thinking about the seniors. So we gave him the SWDC, so what, don't care. And I told him to say it like all day long, so what, don't care. And he actually used it the first week. He said, man, it really worked. Well, it does work because it's self-talk. You're filling your mind because you feel what you think. So I'm gonna give you just a couple things just quickly. One is CTC. CTC is control the controllables. So your job is to control the controllables. CTC. So anytime you're concerned about something, about 99% of the time you're concerned about something you don't even have control of. So you go, I don't have control of that. Stop worrying about that. And what happens is you release it because you only concern yourself with what you can control, your preparation, your attitude, your effort. You go, oh, that's pretty simple. Yeah, it is pretty simple. But focus on that. And when you find yourself being concerned, what happens is you play with tension and hesitation. And you'll be like Walker Buehler. You'll be in the big games and you'll struggle. But when he freed his mind, Saiko no Jotai De is to be at your best, the best version of you. Another Japanese term, to be at your best, the best version of you. How did Walker Buehler get there? He released his concerns and he focused on competing and not micromanaging every pitch and trying to make perfect pitches, but getting on the mound and competing. He released his concerns. So CTC, control the controllables. I'm going to give you just a bunch of quick acronyms. Grab one of them that you like. So when you control the controllables, FDA is find the advantage. So anytime, we're talking about dealing with some type of adversity, something that's bothering you, something that's concerning you. Find the advantage to the disadvantage. That's one, FTA. FTC is find the challenge. So instead of going, oh man, this stinks, go, I'm going to challenge this. Let's go. I'm going to challenge. I'm going to take this as a challenge. FDM is find motivation. Get motivated from a difficult situation. Say, man, I'm going to get fired up. This is going to make me better. Okay. FTM is get motivated. FTO is just find an opportunity. There's an opportunity in here. FTS is find the solution. There's a solution to every single problem if you look for it. And FTP is find the perspective. Perspective is, dude, I'm going to control what I can control, CTC, or I'm going to find the challenge. I'm going to find the advantage to this disadvantage. So think about, you don't need all 7 of those, but just take one. Go, man, I'm going to start looking for the challenge in the difficult situation. And I'm going to focus on CTC, controlling what I can control. Now what happens is you get out there and you go, man, I'm playing with freedom. The infield is a mess. Dude, I got to take ground balls in this field. College coach comes watch me today. The infield's a mess. You say, dude, I can't control it. So what? Don't care. I'm still going to make plays. Now you have this freedom and you end up pulling off this sick backhand because you're confident and relaxed, right? Pitcher rolls out to the mound. It's an absolute mess. It's like, dude, so what? I can't control this mound. Versus thinking about it for your next 7 pitches, right? And you walk the first two guys because you can't get into a groove because you're focused on the mound. Control what you can control. Stop being concerned about things because when you're concerned, you're affected. So let me run through just a quick review. We have the scout, who's the major league scout, major league player, said, if I go back and do it again, I focus on my body. Body, tools, makeup. What is your goal for the first event that you show up to? What do you want better in your body? You might say, I'm going to gain 3 pounds. I'm going to take a little off around my waist. Dude, I'm going to work on getting my back stronger and my quads and my hammy. I don't know. But you need to be body minded if you're an elite athlete. If you think you're an elite athlete, you can't be just rolling, sitting on the couch, showing up with a soft body. And I'll tell you, that's the first test you have to pass is the eye test. That's number one. Okay. Bad body players get a chance only if they have plus tools. And most guys don't have plus tools. So bad bodies usually get forgotten real fast. So understand your job tonight is to work on your body and have a physical goal. Hey, what's the first big thing they got? Just what's some stuff they got? Like the first week, is there? I mean, we got area code trials is a big thing this summer. What's a big event that's important to these guys? Give me something that they should be really, really tuning in for.
Yeah, I think USA Championships is probably the first long big event that most of them will have.
Awesome. So think about that. Hey, what's something on that? I mean, I would, guys lose weight during that week, those 2 weeks.
Long
I mean,
week,
I would think,
yeah, 8 days, 110-degree weather. A lot of guys don't come in. They try to hydrate when they get there rather than doing it beforehand, and try and play catch up the whole week.
so think about what Abe just said. Think about preparation, but not only preparation on the hydration, but preparation on how will I maintain my body that week and during the travel ball. First, I want to show up. So let's just say, I'm going to give you an example of myself. Okay, I weigh 170. I want to be 173 to 5 when I show up to that event. Okay, and I want to maintain at least a 170. I don't want to be dropping to 165. So that means my meals have to be thought out. I can't be just rolling up, watching a game, hanging out. Oh, what are we gonna eat tonight? Oh, we'll eat at 8 tonight. No, you gotta have a plan. What are you eating for breakfast? When are you gonna eat your lunch? So you plan out your meals according to what your body goals are. Some of you guys might need to lose weight. Most guys need to gain weight. Most guys, but not everybody. Everybody's in a different place. Some guys need to maintain weight. Okay. So know where you're at and plan according to the big date that's coming up for you. Body, and then your mental game. What is an area of your mental game? I'm gonna finish with this. Give me one area of your mental game that you're gonna write down tonight that you want to be better at. And I'm gonna give you 5 areas of your mental game. The first one is focus. Okay, just write it down. Just put focus, and then you can check the one you want to get better at. You can't get better at all 5 in a week, but you're gonna get better at one. Focus is number 1. That's the rat. Excuse me, that's the grinder. So you got the grinder, then you got the dirt bag as your energy. I really want to have energy on the field. I don't care if I'm batting 9th, if I'm riding the pine, okay, if I'm playing short and batting 3rd. It doesn't make any difference. I'm bringing energy. I'm going to focus on my energy. The third one is my confidence. I'm going to decide to be confident. I'm kind of in and out of confidence. Sometimes I'm up, sometimes in the middle, sometimes I'm down. I'm going to talk to myself. I'm competing with confidence every day, every pitch. Whatever I'm doing, I'm going to compete with confidence. The fourth one is your bounce back, the rock. How do you respond when something goes wrong in the field? That's the most difficult challenge for all players. How do you respond to adversity? And the last one is your preparation. So you got 5 areas. Take one of those and say, I'm going to be better this week. My preparation's got to get better. I'm going to work on my routine tremendously. Okay, as a catcher, I mean, we just lost a game. Our local team just lost a game by he missed like 3 balls in the last inning. Well, they don't do any drills. I mean, you should be locked in, having a whole routine, pregame, practice, post-practice. You gotta have a plan, right? It doesn't matter what position you play. So one area you're going to get better mentally, identify 3 concerns that you have. You might say, I only have really 1. My coach is always in my head. I can't get him out. Okay, well, you're going to work on that. You're going to work on controlling what you can control. You're going to work on finding the challenge in this situation. Challenge, I'm a challenge, man. I'm going to challenge this situation. I'm going to beat it. I'm going to win. Okay, so identify a concern, 1 to 3. And then I want you to have a date in front of you. The date that is stimulating you when practice is over, practice is not over. And you might say, hey, Wednesdays, I got a lot of homework, I got tests on Thursdays. That's fine. You got to be smart. You can't just be 7 days a week, 3 hours every day after practice. Have a plan, because your academics is a priority, but understand your body is a priority. So you go, man, I'm just going to hit a bunch tonight and I'll eat later. You end up losing 3 pounds that week because you're hitting more. That's not a good plan, because your body is equally as important as an athlete. Like we just told you, the big leaguers are saying, dude, my body's more important than staying after and hitting for an hour in the cage. Yeah, I still want to hit, but I got to balance everything. You got to balance your diet, your body, your academics, right? Your 5 tools, right? Reflecting the replay after the game, going back and saying, hey, what did I do well? What am I going to do better? So we got train the date, what date you're training for, your concerns. And then then the last was your process. Start building it. Build your process. Mental game process, physical process. And what I mean is it's your preparation leading up to, what is your pre-at-bat process? What is your inbox process? I step out, I breathe, I reflect on the count, then I put my game plan in my head, then I breathe and clear. Boom. It's breathe, clear, attack. That's my process. We're going to help you, by the way, build all this stuff. So don't be overwhelmed. That's what these Zooms are about. And that's what our program is about. It's about helping you on your journey. By the way, guys, every single major leaguer that's legit has a mental coach. They're not out there floating on an island, just figuring it out themselves. My good friend is Nolan Arenado and Trevor Story's mental coach. She's a woman. She talks to them every week, giving them perspective, getting their minds right, talking about, are you committing to your process? What is your process? Did you make any adjustments in your process? You know, what part of the mental game do you want to get better at? Nolan was like, when Nolan was struggling in the beginning, he was telling her, he's all, I'm just trying too hard. And she said, you know what? She told her to change his mind space the next game. I'm not going to tell you what she said because it was kind of, it was a little harsh, but he did it. And the next game he said, wow, that worked. Well, Nolan Arenado, come on, he signed for over 300 million. Trevor Story was dealing with the struggles of the media. She said he was struggling with, he was 0 for like 14, but he hit like 10 balls hard. And they were saying Trevor Story's not a good hitter anymore. And it's all over the papers. And he was having a hard time dealing with that. Well, you guys have to deal with your peers at school. You got to deal with everything. Your coaches, you got to deal with everything. So point is that we're all in this journey together. We're all human beings. Nobody's Superman. And we need to build this process. And we're going to help you guys build your process one day at a time. And if you take this stuff lightly, you're just like, that's cool, whatever. If you're not serious about what we're talking about, your road's going to come to an end when your talent, I'm telling you, you cannot talent yourself in this game because other guys are going to be always as talented as you go up the ladder. You're going to beat them with your preparation and your mental game and your process. So build your process, okay? And that process needs to be a post-game process. Identify the black box after every single game. The black box is what didn't I do well today and what could I do better? And then the replay is just replaying the whole game and thinking about it, saying, you know what, I'm going to go through each at bat and I'm going to replay each at bat. And this takes you maybe 10, 15 minutes. But if you want to be a real baseball player who stays in this game for a while, reaches your ceiling, you just don't go home, call your buddy, watch some TV and do a little homework and go to bed. This is a lifestyle. It's a journey. I am good, Abe and Adam. A lot of good stuff, guys. Note taken. We talked about being elite learners, elite listeners. So tonight, before you go to bed, read your notes. And I suggest for the next 3 nights, read them every night and then articulate them to someone, read them. And if you don't have anybody to read it to yourself out loud. Literally, and you're in your room, you're reading them. Saying, I got to work better at my process. Walker Bueller. Oh, whoa. Say it out loud. That's how you learn it. Ray, where are we at with games and stuff? Are guys kind of wrapping up high school? Are these guys in the middle of it, or
kind of a mix right now? Yeah, kind of a mix right now. I know California's got the deepest high school schedule into the summer, but guys are all playing somewhere to some extent right now.
Okay, super. And what's the first event? What do these guys got? What's the first stuff?
We got some junior high guys coming out for Memorial Day next weekend, and then June, pretty much everybody starts up at that point.
Okay, super. Guys, you're going to build your process through the whole summer, through your whole career. It's going to change, but you have to start with something. So write some of your hitting processes on how do you prepare, what do you do to get ready before a game. You just grab your bat and swing it. You work on your load, you work on timing. I don't know what you work on. Okay, but build your process and get it better and continue to build it. But not only your physical process, your mental process. I want to just end with this. Scott Erickson was a good friend of mine. He's a 20-game winner in the big league. This was his in-game, pre-game, day of game process. He'd wake up in the morning. I'm just going to give you 20 seconds of it. He'd wake up in the morning and he'd put a black shirt on. The black shirt represented the day of death. Every day he pitched in the big leagues, he called it the day of death. The reason was because he didn't want to be happy that day, because he needed to focus and be in a tunnel. He's facing the best hitters in the world. So he tunneled in the whole day from right when he woke up, and he put the black shirt on. And he wore that black shirt under his jersey. Well, he was a 20-game winner. He won a World Series. He was one of the best pitchers in the game for a while. And it was his mind space. But the point is that he had a mental process too. When do you turn it on as a hitter? You turn it on when you put your helmet on. Hank Aaron's process was, when I put my helmet on, I don't smile. That's when he locked in. Everybody's different, but you need to build your process. So start writing it down, start reflecting on it, and just build it. And you could even this summer talk to Abe, say, hey, what was your process? Talk to your coaches. You might have a coach from your high school that was a college guy who played college baseball, or maybe he's just a good high school dude. And you say, hey, did you have a process? You're going to learn from everybody. It's a lot of fun, talking baseball and learning. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you guys. And we're excited about this summer coming up. And thank you to Abe and Adam and to Tony and everybody and all the coaches that are putting in the hard work, and appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Nate.
Awesome. Thank you, Nate.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Nate.
Appreciate it.